that. So
like being able to participate in procedures where you're going to or put a tender in for a contract, say.
Yeah, exactly.
For security of a course.
So when they had the Jethedar, the Akal Tucket came recently to Espanola, okay? And of course he doesn't speak any English, all right? So the three...
But was he completely unaware of what the situation is?
I have no way of knowing for sure.
What's your opinion?
I think he's aware of some things, but I think that 3HO and the Yogi Bhajan groups donate so much money, and they have so much influence. Yogi Bhajan had so much influence over the SGPC and among these leaders that are appointed by Bottle and these other people, that the Jethedar is really powerless to do anything anyway. So he just goes there and he looks like a figurehead and so, oh, you're doing great things and all these things like that. But he can't have missed the murtis that they have there, this Baba Siri Chand in front of the Gurdwara. He can't have missed that. He could walk right by it. They got a huge tantric painting. It's really an ugly thing that looms over the Gurdwara there in Espanola. And he spoke, and he was looking right at it, you know, at this painting when he was speaking.
But you couldn't see that on the camera.
You couldn't see it on the camera,
no, but
he saw it, because he was looking right at it, okay? And it's got Yogi Bhajan with these, you know, he's sitting there with this tantric energy coming up and he's, you know, controlling, oh, it's really ugly.
The thing is the one with the things on the side.
Yeah, it's kind of a phallic type thing.
With regards to yourself, though, you've had this amazing journey, no lesser than that to explain it. An amazing journey. You find yourself in this cult, as you say. You've escaped the cult. Then you had to escape prison in India. Tell us about that. Explain to the Sangat at home.
Oh well, again, this is all by Waheguru's grace.
Yeah.
I couldn't have done it myself, and I couldn't have, you know, I couldn't have been more blessed by Waheguru to being able to have this experience in India and been able to escape, like you said. I was arrested on some fraudulent charges there that were trumped up by the Punjab police and the Hindu SSP, I guess maybe say, they're the superintendent of the police there in Amritsar. He was a Hindu who I think he really kind of had it out for political reasons, most probably, to arrest a white Sikh there. You know, I think that was probably in pretty shame, because they did this sting operation where when I was you know, foolishly I was kind of involved in going to this marriage bureau because I was looking for a wife. Yeah,
absolutely.
And I had no idea how these things worked or anything. So this Dadaji, and again I explain in my book, he offered to try to find me a wife. So I said okay, but he was charging the girl's parents every time they would come and see me. He would charge for this, okay?
Right.
And so I didn't know
for introductions.
Yes. And
right.
so I didn't know that, and you know, he kept me completely in the dark, and so because I was paying him too, you know.
Of course.
You know, and I paid him even more when I learned he was putting ads in the paper and things like that. And I said, you know, no, I really, you know, give me, but I didn't know he was getting money from them. Anyway, so the police, they came in and they did the sting operation, where they came in with TV cameras and the police with submachine guns, and it was just really, that's almost like Keystone Cops or something, you know. It's just, you know, unbelievable. Anyway, so there I was, and they hauled me off to jail with Dadaji, and we sat in prison there for a couple of weeks. And the worst part was in the first part, whereas in the Punjab or the Amritsar jail, that on the GT Road, not Bob Road. I don't remember the exact place, but that was the first jail.
Central jail.
Not well. We were in the central jail after the first. There's a jail right near the Dabar Sahib that's on GT Road, I think, or near that place there. Anyway, so that was rats in there, and it was really it was bad, you know. Anyway, so after that, they hauled us out in front of the TV cameras again, before they hauled us off to the central jail, and so of course the press just had a field day, you know, talking about how, you know, how I was deceiving women, trying to get money out of them, you know, all this kind of thing. Anyway, so it was all orchestrated by the police, and so they just set this all up in order to make them look good and show that they arrested this Westerner who was trying to take advantage of Punjabis. That's the whole thing.
Poor common people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I spent a couple weeks in the Amritsar Central Jail, and then they'd taken away my passport and they released me on bail, which the bail was a complete joke anyway. And, you know, so it was just so. Then I really just got tired of the whole going to these hearings, and I even told the judge, I said that I want a trial, and you know, the judge doesn't give trials because the police they're orchestrating things, and they just want it to go on as long as they can, because they know they really don't have a case when it comes down to if there's actually a trial. I later learned the figures about how they lose most of the cases when they actually go to trial, but it takes 10 years for it to go to trial.
Yeah.
So they just put these people on hold like this forever. And so in the meantime, I traveled around India, and I spent a lot of time at the Darbar Sahib, which was a real blessing. I was able to live there. It's in the complex. And so I went and visited Guru Sahib every day and did that. And then at one point I did go to Rishikesh, where I spent some time there. And at that point too, I was still had some 3HO leanings, and I spent some time in an ashram there, and decided that I didn't like that, you know, that kind of Hindu ashram life.
Yeah, that the environment.
Yeah, exactly. And so actually, when I was over there in Rishikesh too, I saw this Gurmukh and Sangattv who were at this Paramatma Kirtan ashram. They were doing some Hindu artis and things like that, and I decided that just was not my choice that I wanted to do. I wanted to be more a Sikh tradition, and things like that.
So you knew Gurmukh and
I've known Gurmukh for 30 years.
Right.
And I don't know if you've recently seen, but she was just over there with her yoga group, and I don't know if she instigated or what happened, but she is in all these pictures where these 3HO people in full Sikhi Sarup got married in a fully Hindu wedding there.
This is not long ago.
Just 2 days ago.
3-4 days
Just
ago.
a couple days ago.
Yeah.
And so this Pramat Ashram has put these all over the internet, showing how these white Westerners with
GurSikhs.
Yeah, they call themselves Khalsa in their name. Yeah. Okay, and they've got tikas on their foreheads, and the swamis take them around Havan with just a completely full Hindu wedding. Okay, so I don't know who is responsible for this, but Gurmukh has been going on about all these Hindu rituals and things like that. Brought that same Swami over to Los Angeles and had a Hindu fire puja in a parking lot of a yoga studio. So I think she's trying to get these 3HO people more into all these Hindu rituals, and she's taking her example from Yogi Bhajan, who was good friends with this same Swami and participated in Hindu pujas over there in Rishikesh at this Paramatma Kirtan ashram himself. I've got pictures of those rituals that he was involved in, and they had a Hindu last rites for Yogi Bhajan at the Paramatma Kirtan ashram too, where his wife, this Indrajit Kaur Puri, she was there with her 2 sons and daughter at this on the banks of the Ganges River. They're doing this Hindu last rites ceremony for Yogi Bhajan, and they've got Yogi Bhajan's picture there with the big Shiva Murti there in the background like that. So Gurmukh's taking her lead, as you will, from Yogi Bhajan's action.
From the source itself.
Yeah, exactly. So
she hasn't diverted the 3HO doctrine.
Yeah.
This is the 3HO doctrine.
Exactly. So she's kind of leading 3HO in this direction. And Gurmukh is probably the most well-known 3HO people. So
she's the one that was instrumental in Russell Brand.
Yeah. She was teaching Russell Brand, and
how
she's
to unintoxicate himself.
yeah. But she's been involved with many Hollywood stars. You know,
Yeah.
she's been described in many of these magazines, yoga magazines, as being kind of the yogi to the stars and things like that. And she's got many of the big name.
Would you say de facto she's become the new Yogi Bhajan?
To some degree. Yeah,
By default, by nobody else taking the leadership role.
Right, exactly.
And she just
Yeah.
assumed it.
Yeah, exactly. So whether these 3HO people over there in Espanola or throughout the world realize it or not, Gurmukh is kind of taking this leadership and kind of moving 3HO more and more in the direction of doing all these Hindu rituals.
You see, this Hindu ritual she took part in was in the car park of her own ashram.
Yeah, in Los Angeles.
Yeah, in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
You
Golden Ridge
to protest against that.
Yeah, I went down there. That was in, I think it was in about 6 months ago, where she invited the same Swami.
Yeah.
Chitananda, can't remember his name anyway, but he's the head of the Pramatma Kirtan Ashram, and he is close relations with this RSS chief.
Right.
Okay, I've got pictures of them at the Pramatma Kirtan Ashram where they're colluding and having meetings together. Okay, so let there be no doubt about it that this Swami is definitely part of the RSS, and they want to convert Sikhs to Hindus, and they want to get all these Westerners involved in these Hindu Vata teachings, and that's the way that they want these Western 3HO people to go, and so they sponsor all these things.
Do you know when you were? I've got two questions now, because
Yeah.
what you've done now is conflated 2 points that I was going to get to anyway.
Okay.
But you've made them come pretty much at the same time. The first question is the Hindu rituals, Hinduization of 3HO, which began as Sikhism.
Yeah.
When you were in prison, you said you took two books with you. One was a Nitnem Sahib, and the other was Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah.
Why did you take the Bhagavad Gita with you? And in your book, if I'm not mistaken, I know I haven't read it recently, but I have read it.
Yeah.
You said something like you understood the essence of the Bhagavad Gita. What did that mean?
At the time, again, I was transiting out of 3HO.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I still wasn't fully, into Sikhi at that point.
Yeah.
And so, and in fact, like I said, I'd been living at this Hindu ashram there in near Rishikesh. It was right near this Pramatma Kirtan ashram. And so Yogi Bhajan himself had told us that he spent time at the Shivananda ashram, studied there, and he'd also studied with this same head of that Swami there, who became the head of the Shivananda ashram after Shivananda had died. Okay, so Yogi Bhajan himself had a lot of Hindu leanings. His mother was Hindu, and he taught a lot of these Hindu meditations and things like that.
So the Bhagavad Gita that you had, that you were concentrating on reading, understanding, deciphering, to incorporate into your own life, into your own jeevani. This was with the blessings of Yogi Bhajan?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, early on in 3HO, he had 3HO people read the Bhagavad Gita, okay? And so we always thought that Sikhi had yoga involved in it, and Yogi Bhajan
We had no reason not to think that.
Yeah, Yogi Bhajan told us he'd gotten this vision from Guru Ram Das Ji, the fourth Sikh Guru, and that Guru Ram Das Ji had come to him in this vision and told him to teach this yoga to the Aquarian age and lead the Aquarian age. These, us young people who are trying to
the age of enlightenment.
Yeah, this age of enlightenment, and the Yogi Bhajan would take us into this, new age like this, and this Kundalini yoga, this tantric yoga that he was teaching, would be the tool that would bring us there like that. And so Yogi Bhajan was very clever. He was very, very clever. He tried to use Sikhi as a unique way to introduce his version of yoga, his made-up version, inventions of this yoga, this tantric and yoga, made up all of this fake lineage, this Lama Leland Po that he had gotten this from, and this Santazara saying that he had gotten, all made up people. There's no other sources about this lineage but from Yogi Bhajan, that he had these visions from Guru Ram Das Ji, and that was all destined, from thousands of years ago, that had been, destined that this, Yogi Bhajan would come to America and he would teach these white people that all this ancient secrets that all the other Sikhs never knew about. So that's what we were taught. And we were taught that all the Sikhs, from Punjab and that all the previous ones had no idea about the truth, all right? And that's why we should never trust any other Sikhs or, Punjabis, like that, because they knew nothing about what Yogi Bhajan only knew.
So much reverse divide and rule.
Exactly. Yogi Bhajan was the only true Sikh.
Separated and rule.
Yeah, Yogi Bhajan was the only true Sikh. Even his family, okay, were not to be trusted, okay, and so that was what was drilled into us, we'll say, okay, during these meditations. He would do these gong things, and get us hyperventilating, doing this yoga and things like that, and then we do these layouts on the floor, and then he would do these hypnotic kind of trance-like reiterations of like almost truly like hypnosis, okay, like that. So you can see that this was completely drilled into us in a really hypnotic, cult-like type manner, like that.
Okay, this is going to sound controversial, but this was about the same time as Jim Jones.
As the 70s.
70s, yeah. With West Guyana, was it?
Right.
But these cults, or not cults, but there were sort of communal communities where people were beginning to move to, staying together, living together, eating off the land, and having this spiritual awakening.
Right.
There was a lot of rumor, speculation that there was CIA activity amongst these, if not in the finishing and the ending of them, then definitely in the beginning of them. Is it possible that Yogi Bhajan had some sort of help, or was directed in some way by the CIA to create this organization that would divert attention away from Sikhs or Sikhism?
I have no way to prove that or to say for sure. I do know for a fact that Yogi Bhajan was close friends with James Angleton, who was
James Jesus Angleton.
Yes, James J. Angleton. That's right. And he, James Angleton, was the head of counterintelligence for the CIA for many years.
He ended up being director of the CIA.
No, he wasn't the director. He was the head of counterintelligence for the CIA, which is a very super sleuth kind of thing. This is where they try to, Angleton had been good friends with the MI5, the guy who was found to be a Soviet spy.
Oh, Philby.
Kim Philby, yeah. He was good friends with him, and he had lunch with him, and he divulged a lot of secrets to Philby, okay, before. And then when it was found out that Philby was a spy for the Soviets, he was completely became paranoid, all right? Now, these are all facts, okay? So he was part of this Senator Clark investigation, where it was found that CIA was spying on Americans.
The Ramsey Clark one.
Yeah, exactly. And so he was responsible for bugging, wiretapping Americans in their homes, and as a direct result, he was dismissed from the CIA. And then also he was.
Is this all in the wake of JFK being? Yeah,
this was in '72 or so, something like that, when he was eventually ousted. Yeah. But from the end of World War II until '72, he was very influential in the CIA. But anyway, he was very close friends with Yogi Bhajan. In fact, his daughter was my neighbor. All right, and Yogi Bhajan.
She's no Sikh.
Well, she's part of the 3HO people. Okay, and so she built this huge house right next door to me, and so I ended up, she was encroaching on my land. I ended up suing her over this whole thing. And
Right.
won a settlement.